Glad to have you back. It's the Business Daily right here on Trust Television. We're looking at issues with regards to the fourth quarter of 2024 report already being turning in by some quoted companies on NJS there. Of course, we saw Cadbury Nigeria PLC recording a pre-tax profit of 2 billion naira there. Of course, if you look at their losses they recorded before, it's still a far cry from the deficit that they are having of over $28 billion there. So it's still a long way to go for companies like Seplat. We also see a lot happening with Veritas Capital Assurance. We also see a lot of issue with Total Energies as well. So a lot of discussion that we'll be looking at today. I'm being joined now via phone from the trading floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Vice Chairman of the Board of Highcap Securities Ltd, Professor, they call him Professor, is one of the doyen of the stock exchange, David Adonri. He joins me via phone from Lagos. Good morning, Professor David.
Thank you, Yusuf. I'm so highly flattered by the introduction and the encomium.
Absolutely.
Many thanks for having me on the program.
Thank you so much. You're a veteran of the stock exchange, and we know quite a whole lot that you have contributed to the NJS. Let's look at the market performance so far this week before we start looking at the reports of some companies.
The market opened on Monday aggressively. There was a very big rally on Monday, wherein the equities market appreciated massively. That appreciation was driven by the very pleasant news concerning the rights issue and the public offering of a bank, which were heavily oversubscribed. So that impacted positively on the banking sector and lifted it as the arrowhead that pushed the market up on Monday. But however, that rally could not be sustained yesterday, Tuesday, because the equities market lost 0.4%. However, the to date remained positive at 0.3%. Yesterday, the market was actually driven down by all the major sectors except oil and gas. The industrial sector declined the most. It lost 1.7%, riding on the big loss suffered again by Danxen. Remember, we analyzed Danxen the other day, trying to figure out why the decline in the price of that security. But so far, I have tried a lot, and so far I have not been able to identify any precise price-sensitive information that is negatively impacting demand for the stocks for Danxen. Dangote Sugar also suffered the same fate yesterday. However, NASCON, which is a member of the Dangote portfolio listed on the market, remained flat. So I would have said, was it a belligerent action against the Dangote group? But I don't really think so, because NASCON remained flat yesterday. So, in summary, that was how the market panned between Monday and Tuesday, and today the market has been vibrant. We are hoping that the market will be very stable today, and if possible, can switch to the positive side. Yusuf.
Indeed, a very good one there. Let's look at the companies' reports that are coming in. Talking about the fourth quarter report we saw from Total Energy already. Of course, a lot of people are saying that the report from Total is against their expectation. What do you make of that? Should we wait for the audited report, because so many of them are saying that according to the shareholder, the dividend payment was not stated rather in the report? Should we wait for the audited report?
Yes, it's the same thing seen with the Aradel. Aradel released his fourth quarter unaudited report yesterday, wherein it announced earnings per share of 57 naira 3 kobo, which is a very impressive performance. Although against the price on board now is about just about 10% earnings yield. and bearing in mind that they will not dispose of the entire earning to pay dividends. So that means that what we're expecting as final dividend from Aradel should be a lot lower than that 57 naira that is the earning per share. Total. Judging from what the company has been making in the first, second, and third quarters, expectations will. But usually in the final year, that is when all the activities are consolidated and a final report is generated. Yes, they cannot announce any dividend until the accounts have been fully audited.
Okay.
And the directors will then propose a dividend. You mentioned earlier on that Cadbury had moved from the position of loss to a profit of about 2 billion. Where I think we have to commend the efforts of the managers of the business, considering the fact that the government has not been very friendly to a lot of those manufacturing companies in the food and beverages sector. Because of this farm insecurity, a lot of their domestic input have been adversely affected, and them have had to resort to importing a lot of those inputs. With the depreciation of the naira, of course, the inflation has therefore been imported and cost of production. So by and large, that was a very good one from Cadbury. We are expecting more, but the real deal would actually come from the banking industry, because traditionally, emanating from the banking industry had always surpassed all the other sectors. They have always made more than 10% dividend yield, where other sectors like petroleum, industrial, and so on are holding between 2 and 5%. So all eyes are actually on the banking sector now that we are entering earnings season. And judging from the impressive results arising from the oversubscription of their public offerings and right issues, bank hopes are very, very high in the distributions from the banking sector. Thank you, Yusuf.
All right, Prof. Why is it that the banking sector reports usually come out late? We saw some companies already turning in their report, but usually it's a norm. You get the banking sector reports. Last. Is it like is the market saving the best for last?
Well, yeah, let's hope that is the situation. But speaking frankly, the delay in the release of their final the full year report at the end of every year is because the financial accounts have to be approved by the Central Bank of Nigeria, their primary regulator, before the board can actually declare dividends, or before the results can be released to the investing public. So that is actually where the delay is coming from. But it used to be much worse in the past, because at the end of the year, banks would always turn in their reports around March, April. But we are seeing banking results hitting the market now as early as the first or second week of February, So we also hope that the same thing will happen this year. The only that investors are entertaining of having now is that, notwithstanding the very impressive performance, judging from their first, second, and third quarter results, which were spectacular, it is also expected that the full year results will be so fantastic that it will beat everybody's imagination. The central bank allowed them distribute commensurate dividends from the very, very huge earnings to report.
That
is the critical challenge that investors are grappling with now.
Indeed, quite a whole lot there for the banking sector to do before, turning in their report. Let's look at what is happening to Veritas Capital Assurance, PLC. There seems to be, investors seems to be, dumping the shares of that company. Tell us more about what's happening.
Well, I think speculators are just playing with it, because the fundamentals of that company has been improving steadily, and the stock has been driven to high heavens. I'm actually one of the investors that panicked early, because I was one of the first investors who bought that Veritas Capital Insurance when it was promoted by Zenith Bank. So I thought it would ride on the strength of Zenith Bank. Long ago, Yusuf. So I held that stock for several years. I bought a 50 kobo, and it had declined to about 20 kobo. Incidentally, I was the head of the par value committee of the Nigerian Stock Exchange then, that looked at the par value of securities in the market, and advised that par value that was fixed at 50 kobo should be abolished, so that to enhance liquidity in security, their prices should go up and down and fall even up to as low as 1 kobo. So I was caught up in that mess personally when the price came to 20 kobo, but I held on. So when I saw the stock recovering, and as soon as it cost price of 50 kobo, it had gotten to 60 kobo, I quickly saw. Not really understanding that it was gathering momentum, and look at where it is now. If I had been patient enough, I would have exited at over 1 naira. So the stock, with the performance it has produced in recent times, very bright future. And so for long-term investors, I think they can still be patient with that security. But speculators are playing with it now because of its volatility and the income yielding capacity of the stock.
All right. As we wrap up now, let's look at the telcos firms quoted on NGS. We saw MTN pulling their weight last week. We've not seen them much. We will not see much from them this week. How is this 50% tariff increase affecting their performance on NGS? Talking about telcos, we know a lot of them recorded losses last year.
Yes, you know the losses they recorded affected a lot of the iconic stocks, especially those that are multinationals and import dependent. Last year, they all suffered FX losses when the naira was floated. So that was a one-off issue which a lot of them had to grapple with. MTN, Airtel, Nestle, Nigerian Breweries, virtually all of them. But what happened were two that renewed investors' interest in the telcos recently, usually MTN. Number one, Guinness came up with the report of a massive recovery. Guinea was also one of those that the balance sheet was damaged as a result of the huge FX losses last year. So in the quarter, Guinness reported a profit of about 11 billion naira, thereby reducing that loss to just about 300 million naira. So you can also see the price movement on Guinness, a lot of attraction to it. So that rubbed off that if Guinness could dramatically recover and earn more than 11 billion naira in a quarter. So what do you say about MTN, which is a source in the industry that is a money spinner? It's a money earning machine, So investors believe that FX loss is likely to be wiped out at the end of this session. So when the tariff was also increased, it was like an icing on the cake, which propelled the interest in the telco sector.
All right. I must thank you, Vice Chairman of the Board, Highcap Securities Ltd, David Adonri. Thank you so much for your time on Business Daily and indeed for your contribution as well. Wish you the best on the trading floor today.
Thank you, Yusuf. Bye.
Thank you so much. With that is a wrap on the show today. We'll be back again tomorrow. I am Yusuf Akubu.